I made some money and I'm going to make some more. Let's take a look at it. Hey everybody, this is Pookie's Revenge. We're back with another 5-year, $500 Rags to Riches series episode. I said it right this time. Okay. So I made some money. Let's get it right into it because I don't want to wait too long. All right. So see in my screen, what you can see here is that I have a realized P&L of $2,847.86. And let me tell you why. So what I've done from the very beginning, just looking at the NIO position, we can, I'll just make the single chart so we're not looking at OCGN or have any distractions, okay? So NIO here, all right, I bought 8,400 shares at $5.35 way back in early March, so a couple of weeks ago, right around here in this mess, all right? Price went up, price came back down, and I'm sitting on a realized profit even though the shares are down. So how did that work and how can we make it more efficient, right? So just walking through the objective facts here. I bought 8,400 shares at $5.35. I sold 84 contracts against those with a $5.50 strike price and collected $55 per share or per contract for all 84 of those contracts. Okay. And what that did is it means that if price goes to $5.50 or above, I'll get assigned at $5.50, and there's a 15-cent per share difference between $5.50 and $5.35. Right. So that's $1,260 worth of potential profit just on the shares. And then $55 times 84 contracts, if they eroded all the way and expired worthless, I'd get that number, which would bring my capped profit potential, or if I get assigned, capped profit potential up to $5,880. So what I've done is I bought those contracts back early. And the reason I did that is because this sell-off today put the share price down below my average, which is fine. I don't really care about that. But what it did is it allowed me to lock in 62 or 63% profit on those contracts because I sold them at $55 and they were worth $21 this morning. So I decided that's good enough for me just to demonstrate this stuff. Normally I'd shoot for about 80 to 90%. But given the time element here, I think it's okay to just lock in about 60 to 70%. And we kind of reached into that. We started finding some support and we started to pull back up. So I wanted to lock in those profits immediately after that impulse because of how potent this stock can be sometimes. So I don't want it to shoot all the way back up to $7 and still end up with that cap profit. So anyway, digging back into the numbers here. So I looked at the option chain first, right, before I did anything just to make sure it made sense. And what I did is I sold my I bought my April 12th contracts back. I got to get out of the long trader's mindset here because I'm a seller now. So let's look at the orders, right? I sold 84 contracts against my 8,400 shares, $55 each. Okay, so I've collected $55 in premium times 84, and then I paid $21 times 84 to close that position out. Okay, so that is a 55 minus 21 times 84. That's a $2,856 difference there. Now there's going to be some fees and some weird little quirks along the way, but that's generally what we're seeing here for the realized profit. Okay, so all I've done, sold the contracts, bought them back. This is me pocketing the difference just on the contracts. Okay, I kept the shares, and in order to do that, you don't want to right click here and close the cover option position because that'll close everything. It'll sell the shares and buy the contracts, and you'll end up with nothing but cash. But what I did is I right clicked on the contract itself, and then I went to create new order and I bought them back. Okay. And so that 55 cents down to 21 cents in value profited for me as a seller. The buyer of the contract obviously lost money, so they may still be holding it, but it's not my problem anymore. And what that allows me to do, since I've kept the shares, I can open a second contract against those same shares and just repeat the process. So rather than having a contract or a set of contracts in my portfolio that's worth $21, as far as from that value down to zero, right? It's only 21 times 84. I decided to open another one that was only a week later that's worth 50% more. So it's worth $30. So all I've done, and if we just walk through the math really quick, right? Let's just say I get assigned, okay? Now that's remember the 15 cent per share profit if I get assigned times 8,400 is 1,260. Okay, I'll add that to memory. And then I've got my 55 minus 21 times 84, right? That's what I locked in today, so 2,856, okay? And then I've got a $30 set of contracts times 84 that I'm also adding into the mix, okay? And then if I recall that, It's 6,006. I don't think I did the math right. Should be like 7,000, but you get the idea, right? $6,636. It's bigger than my 58.80, my initial capped profit. And that's the idea here. So rather than just selling one contract or one set of contracts and letting it expire worthless, if there's another contract within a reasonable amount of time, ideally at the same expiration, because I really don't care if I get a sign on these, that I can sell for more and increase that profit potential, I'm going to take that. So that's all I did today. I just took my contract portion of it, which had $21 remaining, basically, if it were to expire worthless, and I bumped that up to $30. So I increased that potential profit on that portion of it by about 50%. So let me just run through these numbers again really quick. 8,400 times 15 cents per share. Oh, let me clear out the memory here. Add that to memory. And then 55 minus 21 times 84 is 2,856. Okay, and then we've got 30 times 84 is 2,520. Okay, so it looks like I did the math right the second time, not the first time. So anyway, what I've done is I've secured an additional $756 in profits just by rolling the contract. And that makes it very, very easy to just keep repeating this process, because if the price goes up, we make money on the shares. If the price goes down, we make money on the calls. And we can rinse and repeat this in either direction as many times as we want until I get a sign and lose my shares, then I have to start over. So if I took 55 minus 21, so the $34 per contract that I've locked in already, and I add another $30 to it, that's $64 per contract times 84. My total profit just on the covered calls without selling the shares or anything is now 5,730 or 5,376. I'm a little dyslexic today. As opposed to just having 55 minus 21, or I'm sorry, 55, right, times 24, which is 1,320. So it's a good thing to do when it's appropriate. So in this case, if this was like a month out and it was only $5 more, I wouldn't have done it. I would have just kept the $21 calls because they would expire sooner, and then I could just open another contract sooner. But it's really just a balance of how many times we can do this within a given time period that is efficient, right? Now I could have also split the calls. I could have done, 42 on one contract and 42 on another contract a little bit later. Like let's say if I look at April 26th, I could have sold some $34, $37 ones. But I'm just, for the sake of keeping it simple and demonstrating this stuff, I wanted to keep them nice and clean for you guys. So when there's bearish impulses like this, we get these sell-off days, that is okay, right? It just means that it's an opportunity. If we flip this upside down, that's a big bullish pop for a seller. And that's when we want to look at the value of those contracts and see if they're worth it. So WBA, for example, is another one. Price is just going sideways from where I bought it, really. And it's not too far down. I bought them up here at 21.26. We're about 60 cents down. It's not the end of the world on a $20 stock, but the contract is up almost 40%. And it's got a couple of weeks on the expiration. So what I'm going to do is when this gets down to maybe 70, 80%, I'll buy this contract back and then I'll sell another one, and I'll just keep rolling it out until I get assigned. So if we look at NIO, okay, I bought these shares at 535, and let's just talk about cost basis here. So 535 minus the, what's the 55.21? That's 34. Okay, so 535 minus 34, right? Because I sold the first set of contracts and I bought them back, right? So what that does is it brings my 535 cost basis, and that brings it down to 501, right? So that's my new cost basis for these shares, which is why I'm not worried about the price coming down too far, right? And then what I've done on top of that is I've added another 30-cent deduction, essentially. So that brings it down to 471. So 471 is my new cost basis for these shares. All right. So I may have paid $5.35 per share for them, but they're worth $4.71 as far as where my profit threshold is. So anything above 471 is net profit on that position as far as my portfolio goes, even though it doesn't reflect necessarily in the open P&L, right? Because I'm realizing $2,847.86 today, which means I still have all my shares. I still have the same average, but that is reduced by the realized P&L. So open P&L and realized P&L are two different elements altogether. So I hope this video made sense, and I don't want to go too long because we're at the 10-minute mark, but I just wanted to walk through this example given the nature of the sell-off and just to demonstrate that we can be even more efficient with covered calls. So it doesn't even have to be entirely passive, right? I didn't have to, right? I could have just held the $55 and just let them go all the way to expiration or assignment. But that doesn't really help you guys learn, and I want to be a little more profitable on this scenario here. So I'm just going to switch this back to Open P&L, and you can see again the portfolio value is $2,687.97 up, but I only have $170.71 in drawdown open. So that's a pretty good start, right? It's our first locked in secured profit on this portfolio, and it's not huge for this size account, but it is significant enough that you know, if we look at this, it's a 5% profit that I've locked in for doing basically nothing. So pretty easy. I'll take it. I hope this video helped, and make sure, as always, you guys like, subscribe, comment, whatever you guys feel like doing. I'm not going to like force you to do stuff or beg you or ask you. You know, I want to help as many people as possible learn this stuff, and the more you guys participate, the more people get exposed to it, and we can help everybody win. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day.